All right, team. So here we have Train the Trainer for week 3. On Monday, we're going to cover meal timing and meal frequency, essentially eating those 3 healthy meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, building those healthy plates, plus incorporating 3 snacks. We're going to talk about the importance of eating carbohydrates and proteins about 2 hours before the workout, and then carbohydrates and protein about 30 to 60 minutes after working out. We're going to talk about meal planning, selecting our meals, our recipes, creating a grocery list, going to the grocery store and shopping, so some techniques there and some strategies, then coming home and meal prepping. Then again, Q&A, gather all the questions that they may have, send them to via Slack so that we can have the answers to them for the next session. On Wednesday, essentially, we are going to go over the most important topics of what we covered on the Monday's module. And we'll also go into applying what we learned into a workshop. All right, everyone, it's time for a hands-on activity. We're going to put into practice what we've learned about food labels and an ingredient list. So let's start by teaming up in groups of 3. Take out the packaged food item that you were asked to bring today. In your groups, you're going to examine the food labels. Use the bullet points under the reading food labels section of the slide as your guide to analyze them. Go around your group and have each person analyze a food label. I want you to share the serving size. Now remember, if you're eating more than 1 serving, you have to multiply all the numbers, okay? I want you to check the calories per serving. I want you to assess the amount of grams for each macronutrient. How many grams does the item have of carbohydrates? How many grams of protein and how many grams of fats? Look at the daily percent value. Which macronutrient has the highest percent daily value? Which vitamin or mineral has the highest percent daily value? Okay. Does the sodium and sugar have more than 5% of the daily value? Based on the overall label, is the item that you brought today healthy? So look at the slide and follow the questions and discuss amongst your team. Okay, so after I finish explaining the most important topics of the module that we covered on Monday, let's break in the group into teams of 3. They're going to take out their snack and we're going to analyze the food label. Okay, so what we want them to look at is 1, the serving size. We want them to check the calories per serving. So if the food label says 2 servings for that snack, they need to multiply the calories by 2. Once you've completed this analysis, move on to the ingredient list. Scan the list. Can you easily read and recognize most of the ingredients? Does the food have added sugars such as fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, brown rice, or any other word ending in OSE? Overall, does the food seem to contain whole or nutrient dense ingredients listed on the top of the list? Once we're done there, then we want them to scan the ingredient list. Can they easily read the ingredients, right? If they're having difficulty, most likely it's an ingredient that's not healthy for the most part, right? And processed and created in a lab. We want to stick to whole foods. How many added sugars are added to that product, right? Do we have high fructose corn syrup, which is not good? Do we have cane sugar? Do we have brown rice syrup? Any type of syrup is actually bad, by the way. Or any other added sugars, right? Is the snack a whole food? Is it nutrient dense, right? Or is it just processed junk food? So we want them to kind of talk amongst themselves all these different points. Finally, as a wider group, discuss these two reflection questions. What challenges or questions did you encounter when interpreting the food label today? Moving forward, what are some of the key nutrient or ingredients you are going to prioritize when evaluating a food label for the foods you buy? Take the rest of the hour to get into groups to go over this exercise. This is your chance to put into practice what we've learned today. Let's do this. Then, as a collective, as a group, we want them to share how challenging were answering these questions, right? Were they able to interpret the food label, you know? And moving forward, what are the key nutrients that they are going to prioritize when evaluating a food label? Right? So the idea is that they learn how to read a food label, they learn how to read an ingredient list, assess, and make a determination, a decision whether to consume that product or maybe seek a healthier one. That's the whole point of this, to learn how to read a food label and read ingredient lists so that we can make healthier choices. Again, if the teens have questions, jot them down and send them to me via Slack so that I can have the answers for them during their next session. On Wednesday, we have trivia, so ensure that you have about 15 minutes before the session is over to do the trivia. You'll have to keep track of time during the exercise portion of the webinar to ensure that you have enough time for trivia. On Thursday, we're covering the letter M, which stands for measurable in the SMART Goals framework. Okay, so pair the teens into teams of two. They're going to take the goal that they worked on during the SMART Goals framework workshop where we worked on the S for specific, creating specific goals. And we're going to ensure that they can actually measure this goal. If they can't, then we need to help them adjust their goal so that they can measure their goal. Okay? If they're having a difficult time creating a measurable goal, we're going to keep this really simple. We're going to take the sentence that's on the slide and we're going to simply fill in the blanks. So it's super easy. Let's just take an example. I will achieve one pull up by consistently following a progressive pull up training program measured by doing one pull up by August 31st, right? So super easy, just fill in the blanks, and that helps us create a measurable goal. If you need help or they need help, let's just go into ChatGPT. Let's put in their goals and see. We'll plug in the fill in the blanks, and ChatGPT can help us, okay? Then have them share with the team, with the broader team, their goals, okay? Ask them if they had to adjust their goals. Ask if they have any questions. And please send those to me via Slack, and we'll have the answers for them in the next session. Or if we have to help them refine their goals, we can certainly do that for the next session. And that's it. That will conclude week 3. And we'll be ready for week 4, which we're going to cover sleep, the importance of sleep and all the sleep cycles that happen. And then on Wednesday, we're going to cover exercise, which we're going to have guest speakers. Thursday for TriPower and Friday for Boost Only. We're going to cover 2 letters of the SMART Goals framework, and that's going to be the A for attainable and the R for relevant. And that's it.